Good morning, everybody out there. I'm back with State Park number 17 this week. This week I'm going to be taking you to Cook Forest State Park, possibly one of Pennsylvania's most popular state parks. It was ranked in the top 50 state parks in the entire nation, as well as one of the top 25 parks here in Pennsylvania. So I've been to this park many a times before, but I haven't made a video for you guys yet. So I decided to come up in almost peak fall foliage right now. You can see a lot of these old hemlock trees and white pines that are starting to turn for the winter time. You can see a lot of oranges up in that area. But yeah, today's gonna be a fun day. I think we're gonna be doing close to 10 miles today. Long story short, we're gonna be hiking out of the campground all the way down to an old fire tower for about a mile and a half, and then plummeting down, losing a lot of elevation and heading down to the Clarion River and checking that out, and eventually meandering our way along the shores of the Clarion River to an old waterfall, I guess we'll call it. It's actually a man-made waterfall, but it's still pretty cool to see. So that is kind of the gist of this video. It's not really a trail, it's a bunch of trails mixed together. But yeah, check out some of these views here at Ridge Campground here at Cook Forest State Park. A lot of these giant white pines you can see in the distance, some hemlock trees. It is just my favorite time of the year. It's October 7th, and we're here at site 181. When I pulled in yesterday, this site had 7 or 8 deer just kind of hanging out. Eventually they all moved on, but I'm hoping they come back tonight. So yeah, I'm really excited to get up here and do a couple trails. I'm gonna be attempting to do another trail that I've never done before tomorrow, and checking out the famous suspension bridge here at Cook Forest. But yeah, just really want to show off some of these really cool fall views here that Pennsylvania is so famous for. But all right, I'm gonna get changed and get ready, and we are gonna head on down the road and stop at the fire tower. So let's get going here, guys. Alrighty, well, pretty much all set to go. Got the rain jacket on, as you can see. Getting a little unexpected rain here first thing in the morning. But as always, I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing here. So, got the old Cook Forest map out here, as you can see here. This is the campground, the Ridge Campground that we're staying at. And we're all the way back here in the backside of the campground, as you can see. Pretty much had the whole area to myself. Absolutely quiet, and I can say that this is probably one of my favorite campsites I've stayed at here in Pennsylvania. These are all sites here, all empty. Hopefully it stays that way. So anyway, we're back here. We're gonna be road hiking all the way out of this campground and then all the way down this Fire Tower Road here, all the way back to the old fire tower, as well as Seneca Point. So this is about a 1.5 mile walk right here. So we're gonna have to walk this back eventually. And then after we see the fire tower in Seneca Point, we're gonna be dropping elevation down to the Clarion River, and we're gonna hike to probably about here, I'm thinking, where this Hemlock Island is. And then we'll be heading all the way back up. So it'll probably be around 9 to 10 miles today easily. I've done this trail before. It's a lot of fun. Everything you can ask for on a trail. I mean, you got overlooks, you got fire towers, waterfalls, Clarion River, elevation gain, elevation decrease, you name it. If you're a hiker, I highly recommend this. And you get to hike a little bit of the Mid-State Trail, another national trail as well. So a little bit of everything for this hike. So hopefully the rain isn't too bad. Took most of my important stuff out of my book bag, that way if I do get drenched it won't be the end of the world. But yeah, so let's get going here. All right, we'll saying bye to Camp Maxim here for the next couple hours as we head on down through the campground. Like I said, this is about a 1.5 mile walk here from the campground to the fire tower. A lot of kind of dirt road hiking we're gonna be doing, but just wanted to show you some of these sites here in the campground. This is one of the only campgrounds that I've been at where it really feels like you're camping, you know, amongst the trees. You can see some of these giant white pines as well as hemlock trees kind of sporadically mixed all throughout. Gives it a really cool vibe here. But try to show you a little bit of the campground. These are it's like 175. These are all the non-electric sites here, and all the electric sites are on the inside of this loop here. So kind of do get the better sites if you camp non-electric here. Well, we said goodbye to the old campground across the road, and now we are here on this old dirt road path heading back to the old fire tower in this very dense pine forest here. And kind of a cool story, this area used to be known as the Black Forest simply because it was so overgrown, dominated by pine trees. Sunlight had a hard time penetrating through the canopy, and it was just dark all the time, so they called this the Dark Forest. Not a lot of undergrowth, as you can see. These big trees pretty much suffocate any small weeds and small saplings, won't allow them to grow. So we're going to keep on heading back here on this old dirt road, and eventually after about 1.5 miles we'll make it back to the old fire tower. The fire tower, I want to say, was built in 1929, obviously to look for forest fires. It's no longer in use today, but we are still able to climb it. So we're going to head up the fire tower as far as we can go. Unfortunately, the tippy top of it is closed. I don't know what kind of, they do some kind of research up there still to this day, I think. And we'll be checking out Seneca Overlook, another really cool spot here at Cook Forest. So yeah, we got the fire tower to look forward to, built in, I believe it was 1929, 82 foot tall if I recall. And checking out Seneca Overlook in this beautiful fall scenery. It's October 7th. Not as cold as you think it would be. It's probably around 50, 55 right now. So definitely comfortable. Calling for a little bit of rain today, but we're not going to let that slow us down. So I'm going to keep heading down the road here. But right now you can kind of get a sense on why they used to call this the Black Forest. It's nearly 9 a.m. right now, and it's pretty darn dark here in these the pines surrounding me. So well, if you're watching this video to learn a little bit of history here about Cook Forest State Park, now's your time. So back in 1927, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania came to this area and decided, hey, this area is really beautiful and pristine, and we should probably preserve this the way the lumber industry or whoever else couldn't come up here and destroy all this. So in 1927, the Commonwealth set aside this area, 8,500 acres, and made this a state park. Why is that such a big deal? This was actually the first park in Pennsylvania to be set aside due to nature and conservation. So all those other state parks that we ventured to, like Caledonia and Promised Land, Caledonia was saved for the old furnace. Promised Land was just a barren wasteland, and the state wanted to try and rebuild it, basically. Well, this was the first park ever in Pennsylvania to be preserved due to its natural beauty. So kind of a fun fact. So long before 1927, way before this was a state park, years and years before any white man set foot upon these lands, two Indian tribes called this area home. The Iroquois Confederacy, as well as the nation of Seneca, Seneca Nation. They would have came to this area, called this area home, hunted these woods, killing everything from white-tailed deer to bison, elk, mountain lion, wolves, you name it. So pretty cool to say. I'm walking the area that these old Iroquois Indians, as well as Seneca Indians, called hunting grounds back in the day. And if you didn't put two and two together already, we are heading to Seneca Overlook here in just a minute. And I can see the parking lot just up ahead. So it looks like we have already gone 1.5 miles. So I believe we're gonna check out Seneca Overlook first here and get that out of the way. So little information on some of the Native Americans that called this area home way back in the day. Well, as you can see here, very popular area here Friday morning. Looks like I'm gonna have this area all to myself. And I'm sure a lot of you might be asking, well, why didn't you just drive down here? Why not? I mean, look at these trees. Sometimes it's just nice to take your good old time and see everything, you know? You walk, you see all the bugs, you see all the leaves. You drive, you might be lucky to see a deer or two. So took our good old time getting up here, but in just a couple hundred feet we'll be heading to Seneca Overlook. And before I get there, so we touched upon the park becoming a state park as well as the Native Americans, but the park is actually named after a gentleman named Tom Cook, who moved to this area back in the 1800s. I think it was like 1826. And his mission was to come out to this area and try to figure out if he could make a canal that could connect eastern Pennsylvania to western Pennsylvania. And eventually that didn't happen. He ended up using the Clarion River. He wanted to send logs basically down to Pittsburgh to reinforce mine shafts and, you know, help the industrial revolution. So a little information about Thomas Cook. Him and his 10 children, as well as his wife, moved out to this area, called this area home, and a lot of the descendants of the Cook family still live in this area. So Cook Forest is all thanks to Thomas Cook. So as you can see here, Fire Tower, Seneca Point, and the Baker Trail. We're going to be doing all three of those here in just a second. All right, well, despite the rain and the 2 miles of hiking we've done already, we have made it to Seneca Overlook. And as you can see, fall foliage, it's pretty much in full effect. Another week, and this will probably be at the peak season for fall foliage. You can see some fog rolling over the hills here. And we're here at Seneca Overlook. You can see the ridge just in front of me here. That ridge drops a couple hundred feet in elevation all the way down to the Clarion River. For as far as you can see, it kind of meanders on through these hills here. And in just a couple miles, just a couple hours, we're going to be down at the Clarion River looking up at these hills. So think about that once we're down there. And as I said in the beginning of the video, we're going to be looking for a waterfall today. And that waterfall is actually right where all this fog is. So we're going to head on down in elevation and follow the Clarion, and the waterfall is going to be down in that location somewhere. So yeah, Seneca Overlook, of course named after the Seneca Indian tribe that called this area home. So if you can imagine, back in the 1400s, 1500s, these Indians would have came out on this ledge, potentially looking for, you know, where they're going to hunt the next day. You know, maybe a Native American said, hey, you know, we're going to head on over this ridge here, see bison, see white-tailed deer, maybe some elk. Gonna head over there and hunt tomorrow or next week. Or maybe some of the warriors would have came up here looking for the Iroquois Confederacy. Maybe they would have looked for some smoke coming up, trying to spot some enemy encampment to try and ambush them the next day or something. So kind of cool things to think about when you're in areas like this, considering all the history. So sorry if the rain's getting a little bit on the lens, but we're gonna call it quits here in just a minute and head on over to the fire tower, which is about 100 feet or so to my right, and hopefully get a little drier over there before we head on down to the Clarion River. So yeah, great day so far. All right, just like I said, a couple hundred feet away from Seneca Overlook, you're faced with this giant metal monstrosity seemingly in the middle of nowhere, as well as the river trail to my right that we'll be heading down here after we tackle this. So this is fire tower number 9, built all the way back in 1929. Obviously used to spot forest fires, and it says that you can see around 10 miles away from the top of this tower on a clear day. Obviously that isn't the case for us today. There's a 6-person limit heading up here, so I'm guessing we'll be all right today. If 5 more people pop out of the woods and run out there, I'll probably have bigger problems on my hand here. So yeah, here it is, fire tower number 9, 87 foot tall, and we're going to be climbing all of it today, except for that very top part, because it's closed. I guess they still do something up there. I don't know if it's for weather or science or who knows. So let's start heading up. All right, well, here goes nothing here. Gonna head on up to the tippy top of fire tower number 9. So let's go. I'll take you up step for step here. People have been climbing this sucker since 1929. I just read there was a little informative post that this was actually originally open for tourists, which is kind of a funny thing. And then eventually it was turned into a fire tower. I think in 1974, a windstorm came through this area, a tornado, it said, and blew down the power to this fire tower. And they made this, once again, for tourist purposes. So we're getting above the tree line here, probably about 20 to 30 feet high. A little sketchy. I'm not the biggest fan of heights here. But yeah, do this all for you guys. I don't know if you can see it, but there's some shoes in the tree right there. A pretty open area here. You can see we still got a while to go on this rickety old fire tower. Left the tripod down there. We'll wave. Hi. All right, a couple more flights. You can start to see the ridge line there in the distance as we get above the canopy of the trees. And my heart is starting to pound. Oh yeah. Check these views out. Still no views of the Clarion, but pretty awesome regardless. Alright, and as you can see, we're pretty much topped out there. They don't allow you to go to the very top. It said due to vandalism. And on the sign it did say that you can see the high point of 3 different counties from up here. And look at that fog rolling. The sun's hitting the hills over that way. Wow, this is pretty incredible. I feel like last time I was here, they didn't have this solar panel here either. But wow, I'm gonna have to go back down and get my tripod and come back up here and get a time lapse or two. Really cool. But yeah, check that out. Let's go. Top of the world. Alrighty, well, one last look from the top here at fire tower number 9 as the fog drifts along the Clarion River Valley. I'm not a big heights guy. You won't ever catch me on a roller coaster, but I have no problem heading all the way up here. But yeah, what a rush. So we're gonna head back down. I think I'm gonna bring the tripod up, set it up here, get some time lapses, and then we'll start our trip on down to the Clarion. So that's the plan. And yeah, check that view looking straight down. This is probably my 5th or 6th time actually at the top of this tower, and I've been up here during some windy times. I was up here in the winter, and probably like some 25-30 mile per hour gusts hitting off this tower, and this tower does sway if it's hit with wind. So but yeah, I mean, if you come to Cook's Forest, highly recommend checking it out. You won't get views like this anywhere else. So all right, I'm gonna start my descent here. All right, well, made the climb up with the other GoPro. Doing a little time lapse here at the top of fire tower number 9. The rain seems to have dissipated a little bit, but the wind has picked up. So the video, I think, is running a little long now, so I'm gonna end the video on a high point here at the top of the fire tower, and we will continue on next week with part 2 here from Cook Forest as we head on down to the Clarion River and check out that old waterfall. So try not to make these videos longer than like 25 to 30 minutes, so hopefully you guys understand that. But I will see you next week back here at Cook Forest State Park number 17. As always, if you're not, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, leave me a comment, tell me what you think. Check me out on Instagram as well as Facebook, both at Maxim Outdoors. So, signing out here from the top of the world here at Cook Forest, and I will see you next week from down at the Clarion River as we hike the Baker Trail and check out some old waterfalls. All right, guys, thanks for checking out this video. I will see you next week.